community. We are committed to helping individuals break cycles. We are delighted that you have taken the opportunity to join us. So prepare yourselves for this week's teaching and equipping session. Get ready to be educated, equipped, and set free as you listen to this week's broadcast. And thank you for joining us.
Hey, Dream family. Hi, everybody. It is Truth Tuesday. It is Tuesday evening and time for another session of Truth Tuesday here with the Dream team. I am going to talk about the Beggar Spirit. I'm going to talk about that tonight. I actually encountered this spirit this week. And when I saw it, I went, God, what was that? What in the world was that? And God had to reveal it to me, what I encountered. So I'm going to share with you tonight what God showed me. Before I get into this, I just want to tell you guys who we are. So first of all, I'm with the ministry out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm a part of the DREEMM South team. So I'm the South team, but we are based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Our DREEMM stands for Deliverance, Restoration, Education, and Empowerment for Me Ministries. We are a deliverance ministry. Our address for those of you who are in the Cincinnati area and you would like to come to one of our sessions, please see our address, which is 636 Northland Blvd. Here at DREEMM, we help individuals and families break cycles. That is our motto. We help individuals and families break cycles. If you would like to find out more information about DREEMM, who we are, what we do, what we believe in, who our founder is, information about Apostle Deborah Edwards and the DREEMM team and all that we do in the community, please visit our website. This is where you will also find out about upcoming classes and sessions that we have, and then be able to register for some sessions. This past Saturday, we had our Saturday class, and it was a phenomenal class, and we had great attendance at this particular session. I was able to come up myself and co-host that session with Apostle Deborah Edwards, and we dived into the spirit of perversion. So if you missed that class, it is not one of those Saturday classes that we do for that training that we do, or that enrichment classes that we do on Saturday in regards to deliverance. Those classes are private, so only for the people who come to the Saturday session will you be able to join those classes. They are not virtual. We do not share those classes anywhere, and we do not share anything that's discussed in those classes anywhere, especially because we are dealing with individuals, very unique situations, and just talking to them and revealing some of the things that over the years that Apostle Deborah has learned and taught to us. And so we are teaching that to the community. And so that class took place this past Saturday. For the month of March, third Saturday in March, we are going to be teaching on the spirit of pride. So if you are somebody who's going, hey, I want to be in the building for that particular class, that is, you would go to our website to register for that class. Again, it's the third Saturday of every month from 10:30 to 12:30. The classes are so amazing that people are going, can we go longer than 12:30? Because I feel like you just gave us a little snack and I want some more information. I want to go deep diving into this. I want to do a follow-up session on Monday. Can we do this every week? So we're getting some great feedback. But right now, again, it's the third Saturday of every month. It is for 2 hours, 10:30 to 12:30. And that is all that I want to say about that. So if you are interested and you want to learn about the spirit of pride, definitely come to that session. Again, tonight's session, I am going to talk about the Beggar Spirit. That's where we're going to go for tonight's session. And I'm super excited about this one. This is going to be very short because I'm not going to go as in detail as I would like. I do want to say this caveat before I get started. When I originally heard Beggar Spirit and what I thought about this particular spirit. God had to educate me because he said this is a spectrum spirit. So what you would think about when you think of beggars, you may think about somebody who's impoverished. And it could be for scenarios or situations that are outside of their control. They lost their job, which caused them to lose their home, and situations like that where they had no control over the situation. That is not what we're going to talk about tonight. We are going to talk all the way on the other side of the spectrum. I'm also going to end this class by talking about some characteristics of this particular spirit on the other side of the spectrum. So I need you to keep that in mind as we're going through this session tonight and talking through it. When I had this encounter with this spirit and did not understand what I was seeing or why I was seeing what I was seeing, that night God came to me and I heard him say two names. And when he said the two names, I didn't understand it. And I kept hearing myself repeat those two names over and over, even in my sleep. And when I woke up, I was still repeating those two names, going, this name and this name, this name and this name. And I woke up and I thought, wait a minute, where have I heard those names from? And then it immediately came to me. It was like I had to wake up first in order to get it. And so we are going to dive into that tonight. So let's jump right in. We are going to 1 Samuel. We're going to go to 1 Samuel 2:12 through 17. As Apostle Deborah Edwards said, please make sure that you have a Bible. If you don't have a Bible, please get one. You can also reach out to our ministry. I do believe we have some Bibles that we can ship to you or send over, but you definitely need to have your own word. That way you can study to show yourself approved, and you can hide the word in your heart. If you don't have the word, if you have it on an app or something like that, that may be good for now. But as Apostle Deborah has been saying over and over again, what happens is cell phones go down and you don't have access to that app anymore, or anything happens. So now you no longer have access to the word. So you need to make sure that you have a Bible that you can put your hands on. Okay. So let's get into this. 1 Samuel 2:12 through 17. And let's start off with verse 2:12. Let me get that up. All right. So let's go into it. Eli's sons were scoundrels. They had no regard for the Lord. Now, it was the practice of the priest that whenever any of the people offered a sacrifice, the priest's servants would come with a 3-pronged fork in his hand while the meat was being boiled, and would plunge the fork into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. Whatever the fork brought up, the priest would take for himself. This is how they treated all of the Israelites who came to Shiloh. But even before the fat was burned, the priest's servants would come and say to the person who was sacrificing, give the priest some meat to roast. He won't accept boiled meat from you, but only raw meat. In other words, at this time, these servants of the priest, who were Eli's son, would say to the person who was bringing their sacrifice, he wants raw meat. So traditionally, they would boil the meat, and then it said that the servants would take a 3-pronged fork, and they would put it into the meat, and whatever came off with that 3-pronged fork, I don't know why I couldn't say that, whatever came off with that fork, that is what the servants would give to the priest. So that was for the priest to take. Well, what they're doing right now is they are saying, no, we don't want to do that while this meat is raw, even while the fat is still on it. We want you to cut it now. So before you offer a sacrifice to God, we want you to give us our portion up front before you even sacrifice, which went against the tradition, which went against the laws, which went against their religious beliefs. And so in this regard, the priests, or Eli's son, were putting themselves above God even. I'm above God because I'm asking you, I'm telling you, I'm not even asking you, I'm telling you to give it to me. So in 16, it says, if the person said to him, let the fat be burned first, take whatever you want, the servants would answer, no, hand it over. If you don't, I'll take it by force. In other words, I'll use violence if I have to, but you're going to give me what I want. And so 17 says, this sin of the young men was very great in the Lord's sight, for they were treating the Lord's offering with contempt. That means I'm not even, that's disregarding the Lord's offering. And it means that they did not respect the Lord or the agreement that the Lord had with the people. And so at that point, the priests were putting themselves, as I said, above God because they're asking for the sacrifice up front. So we're going to go to 1 Samuel 22 and through 26 really quick. 1 Samuel 2, 22 through 26. And it says, now Eli, who was very old, heard about everything his sons were doing to all Israel. So people are coming to Eli and saying, this is what your sons are doing, and how they slept with the women who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So they are really just out here just sinning and doing whatever they want to do with no regard whatsoever. No respect for the temple, no respect for their positions, no respect for their titles, no respect for God, no respect for their father. They are just completely just wilding out and taking advantage of the positions that that God has given them, the opportunities, the doors that God has opened. They are just taking full advantage of that and just slapping God in the face at the same time. And so it says in 23, so he said to them, why do you do such things? I hear from all the people about these wicked deeds of yours. So the people are doing what they're supposed to. They are reporting this to Eli and saying, this is what your sons are doing, expecting him to do something in regards, because he is the elder. He is the one who they should be bringing their complaints to. And there should be something that Eli does to hold his children accountable. But as you can see, he's speaking to them. He's telling them, this is what I heard. 24. No, my sons, the report I hear spreading among the Lord's people is not good. If one person sins against another, God may mediate for the offender. But if anyone sins against the Lord, who will intercede for them? His sons, however, did not listen to their father's rebuke, for it is the Lord's will to put them to death. So even though the Lord, their father is saying, hey, this is a rebuke, you guys need to listen to what I'm hearing, they disregarded Eli and just walked away. And it says in verse 25, it was the Lord's will to put them to death. They had an opportunity to repent and turn away, but they didn't. They're going to continue to do what they want. And Eli stopped at that. I'm just going to tell you you're wrong, and that's all I'm going to do. There's no consequences for their actions. And so what was interesting enough is the priests were responsible for when the people would come and bring their offering. It was a sacrifice against any sin that they may have committed to God. And they were to carry out certain religious practices to help people reconcile back to Christ, or back to God at that time, because Christ had not come yet. And so that was what the priest's role was. What do you do when this priest is supposed to walk me through asking God for forgiveness for my sins and the practices that were put in place? But the priest is up there sinning. The priest sleeping with other women. The priest is doing wickedness in the sight of God. The priest is taking from the offering at a time where he's not allowed or permitted to do that, because my offering is unto God. He is out of order. So what is this message being relayed to the people, to the servants who are coming to him going, hey, help me out? And do you even feel like you need to do that? I think about that in terms of today when people say, this is the reason why I don't go to church. This is the reason why I don't believe in God. This is the reason why I don't believe in Christianity. This is the reason why I believe that, this is not a real religion. This is the reason why. It's because of the corruption that they're seeing inside of the Christian body. And because there is so much corruption, depending on where you're looking at, it may be the deterrent from people to walk away from the Christian faith. And especially to an outsider looking in at all the craziness going on and going, wow, if that's what it is, I don't want to be a part of that craziness. And so this is what we're seeing way back then. That this is what's going on inside of the priesthood, that were at that time in a position to really be able to usher people into the presence of God. They had a mantle on their lives where they were allowed in the tent, in the presence of God, where the people were outside of this area. There was a divide between the people and getting into his presence, and you had to go to the priest in order to get that favor. And so they had this special calling on their life, and to see how they were squandering it away. I mean, just squandering and making bad decisions that did not align to God. So let's go on and look. I want to go to, let's go back to 1 Samuel 1, 22 through 26. I'm sorry, I didn't finish reading. Actually, I want to go to verse 27. Can we go down to verse 27? And it says, now a man of God. So not only did Eli hear it from other people, we're going to hear that Eli heard it from another representative of God. And this says, a man of God in verse 27 came to Eli and said to him, this is what the Lord said. Did I not clearly reveal myself to your ancestors' family when they were in Egypt under Pharaoh? I chose your ancestors out of all of the tribes of Israel to be my priests, to go up to my altar, to burn incense, and to wear the ephods in my presence. I also gave your ancestors' family all of the food offerings presented by the Israelites. Why do you scorn my sacrifice and offerings that I have prescribed for my dwelling? Why do you honor your sons more than me by fattening yourselves on the choice parts of every offering made by my people Israel? Hold on, let's go back and read that again. Why do you honor your sons more than me? When we start to put other people in positions in front of God, when we start to reverence people more than we reverence God, when we turn a blind eye to their actions because of the fact that we're going, oh, well, that's the pastor, oh, well, that's the priest, and we know they're out of order, we are accountable for that as well. We are supposed to speak up to them. And in this scripture, we see Eli did say something to his sons, but it looks like, based on this questioning, that he is also benefiting from this, because as we continue to read that last sentence, it says, why do you honor your sons more than me by fattening yourselves? Not just your sons, allowing them to do it, but you are fattening yourselves with an S on the end, meaning you are benefiting from this as well on the choice parts of every offering made by my people, Israel. Let's go to 30. It says, therefore, the Lord, the God of Israel, declares, I promised that the members of your family would minister before me forever. But now the Lord declares, far be it from me. Those who honor me, I will honor. But those who despise me, I will disdain. 31, this time is coming when I will cut short your strength and the strength of your priestly house, so that no one in it will reach old age. So nobody is going to reach older age. They're going to die young in their youth. And 32 says, and you will see distress in my dwelling. Although good will be done to Israel, no one in your family line will ever reach old age. So he says it again. He repeats it again. So I need you to understand that I mean this. No one in your family will reach old age. 33 says, every one of you that I do not cut off from serving at my altar, I will spare only to destroy your sight and sap your strength. And all your descendants will die in the prime of their life. Again, a third time, no one will reach old age. That is what that means. All of your descendants will die in the prime of their life. And what happens to your sons, Hophni and Phinehas, will be assigned to you. They will both die on the same day. I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who will do according to what it is in my heart and mind. I will firmly establish his priestly house, and they will minister before my anointed one always. Then everyone left in your family line will come and bow down before him for a piece of silver and a loaf of bread and plead, appoint me to some priestly office so I can have food to eat. They will become beggars. They will become beggars. That's what that means. I want to go on. I'm going to read one more scripture, and then we're going to get into the spirit of the beggar. I'm going to tell you what the spirit is and what God showed me. So let's go on to 3. We're going to read 3:11 through 14 really quickly. So let's get it up here. 3:11 through 14. And it says, and the Lord said to Samuel, In this chapter, we are seeing young Samuel who keeps hearing God call him, but he does not know it's God at first. And so he keeps going to Eli thinking Eli is calling him. And Eli finally says to him, you know, when you hear it again, say, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. That's actually in verse 9. So let's go down to 11, and it says, and the Lord said to Samuel, see, I am about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. At that time, I will carry out against Eli everything I spoke against his family from beginning to end. For I told him that I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. He knew about this sin. His sons blasphemed God, and he failed to restrain him. Therefore, I swore to the house of Eli, the guilt of Eli's house will never be atoned for by sacrificing or by offering. So there is no way you can get out of or repent your way out of this. There's no way out of this. You are going to deal with this. He's told him, Eli found out from the people what his sons were doing. He spoke to them, but there was no repentance and there was no consequence for their action. Then God sent a prophet to tell him, this is what's going to happen because you didn't do anything and you're benefiting off of this. This is what's going to happen. And then he now sends Samuel, little Samuel, to come in and say, this is what God is saying happened. God is saying it again. And so 3 out of the mouth of 3. And it seems like it was more than 3. When the people keep coming to you and telling you over and over and over and over and over again, this is what's happening. So let's talk about the spectrum. I think on one end of the spectrum, when it comes to the spirit of the beggar, you have those people, like I said, who have gone through a situation and this spirit has come on them that pushes them into a impoverished lifestyle. And there may be some who are choosing to fight their way out of this because I got to get the spirit up off my life. I am not going to live like this. My mom lacked, my grandma lacked. We were always on food stamps. I'm not going to live like this. I am going to do better. I'm going to do better at planning. I need to pray this spirit off my life because I don't want to see these consequences continue to go throughout the bloodline. That is one end of the spectrum. We are going to go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So let's talk about this today. On this end of the spectrum, this spirit of the beggar spirit, it causes you to be stagnant. So let's talk about the characteristics. You become stagnant. I am good where I am. I don't think I need to do anything better. I'm satisfied with being here, or maybe I'm not satisfied with being here, but it requires me to put in work and it requires me to make changes. And I'm not about to do that because that requires me to change. And everything is okay with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly happy the way I am. I am perfectly happy in the situation I am. They become so stagnant in their thinking, even when you're trying to talk to them and give them logical reasoning. They disregard everything you say. It goes in one ear if it actually goes in, but it comes right out of the other. It is like you are speaking a whole different language to this person because their thoughts, their thinking is stagnant. I don't even think so you start talking about, hey, there's an opportunity for you to go to this class. And then once you get this training, you can get this job making this much money. And then you can start turning your life around. And all they start hearing is, you're judging me. You judging me. You just think there's something wrong. There ain't nothing wrong with me. It's something wrong with you. No. You just want me to go. I don't have money for this class. How am I supposed to get to this class? What day is the class on? They need me to fill out documents. I'm not doing all that. They are stagnant in their thoughts and the way they think and the way they process. And talking to them will drain you. It'll start to drain you because you are giving them rational explanation and they are thinking irrationally about it. Another characteristic of the beggar spirit, they are impoverished in their mind. They are impoverished in their mind, their mindset. When I talked about stagnant in their thought, it's their mindset that's twisted and corrupted. So they are already impoverished in their mind. The way they look at everything, the way they process everything doesn't make sense to anybody else talking to them. Their mindset is in a mindset of lack. I would rather sleep on people's sofa than go out and spend money, trying to get a roof over my head. I would rather, beg for somebody's car than try to figure out how to get a job so I can get back and forth. I would rather, ask you for a meal every single day and require you to cook in your kitchen and bring me something to eat than me actually create a game plan to make sure I eat today. You are going to give to me. And so that's another characteristic. You can never give enough. So it doesn't matter what you did for me yesterday. The fact that you don't do for me today is enough to drive me crazy, because now you never do anything for me. You never want to see me successful. You never want to see me do well. You never care about me. You don't love me. I don't know why you don't love. Nobody ever has my back. I'm out here doing things by myself and nobody ever cared for me. And so they go on and on. So unless you keep giving, like, it's not enough that you gave once, but you have to keep giving. You have to keep taking care of them. That is the mindset that they have. And it, like I said, it can become draining for those people who are around. They either lack or they have absolutely no accountability. Every situation they're in is because of somebody else. It's somebody else's fault. It's somebody else's problem. If somebody else did this to me, somebody else put me here, somebody else did this. This is not my fault. I never did it. I didn't have a dad. I didn't have a mom. You had both parents. That's why you're okay and I'm not okay. I didn't have the opportunity to go to school. You had opportunity to go to college. I didn't have a husband. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. The reason why I'm in this situation is always somebody else's fault, and they never accept any accountability for it. It doesn't matter what the situation is. I got fired from my job, and that's why I'm just impoverished, and I've been in this same situation for the past 15 years, because that one job I had 15 years ago, I got fired from, and I can't do nothing else. If they wouldn't have fired me, and they fired me for no reason. I mean, yeah, I called off 15 times in that 1 week. And yeah, I hit the manager in the face, but he shouldn't have made me hit him. It is always somebody else's fault. It is never their fault. They accept either they have a lack of accountability or there is no accountability. It's one or the other. The next thing, entitlement. That's another characteristic of this spirit. I feel owed. You owe me for this. You owe me. So that's the reason why you have to keep giving to me, because I feel entitled. I feel like you owe me something. And no matter where you turn around, they are looking for the next handout. Where do we see this at the most? I know if you've ever seen a dream broadcast, you have heard us talk about this, because you may not think about this from this standpoint, but it really does line up. God told me 20 people supposed to give $5,000 tonight. 20 people supposed to give, line up right here if you wanted them 20 people who's supposed to give $5,000 tonight. And God didn't tell you a single thing. I feel like you owe me. And the second nobody lines up, they get angry. Wait a minute. Y'all just disobeying God. That entitlement spirit, or that entitlement that they start to act out. The next thing, number 5, arrogance. Arrogance. You don't have X amount of, you don't have this, you don't have that. What, you can't give me $20? I told Apostle, I was downtown Atlanta for a work trip, and I stopped at a light, and this gentleman was begging for some money, and I rolled down my window, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't have any cash on me. I wish I had something. I don't have anything. And the man cussed me out. I mean, he cussed me out completely for not having money. You ain't got no money? What you mean you ain't got no money? I mean, completely went off. You guys, that spirit of that arrogance, that's what you'll see with the beggar spirit. It is like, you owe me, I'm entitled to it, and I just feel like I'm so above everybody else. I act like you guys need to bow before me. You are beneath me. How dare you? And you think like, if this person is begging, how do they have a spirit of arrogance? Because not everybody begging has a need. Not everybody begging is broke. There are some people in certain positions where they beg for just it's part of what they do. I need you to give to me because I want more. And that's another characteristic of the spirit. It's the spirit, it's greed. I just want more. It's never enough. What you give me is never enough. It is severe forms of greed. I just want more and more and more. Give me more money. Give me more titles. Give me a higher position. Give me more of the benefits. Like, it's never enough. And that's what you saw with Eli's son. They were already eating off the fat of the land. They didn't have to really go out and toil the ground, or they didn't have a hard role where they had to go out and work and do manual labor. People were bringing offerings in, and you get to eat off of our offering. You didn't have to raise a cow. You didn't have to go slaughter an animal. You didn't have to do any of this. We have to do it. And we brought our offering in, and you get to have a piece of what we're doing, and it's still not enough, because now I'm requiring you to give me a piece of the animal before you even sacrifice it to God. God hasn't even received the offering yet, and I'm telling you, I want some of. That is that extreme greed. It is never enough. Nothing you do will ever measure up in this person's eyes, because I have a spirit of, I have entitlement. You owe me. So there's that greed that comes in. The next thing you see is intimidation tactics. That is another characteristic of the spirit. So they either become aggressive, they start becoming threatening, they become violent. One of those three, but it is to intimidate you into giving more. So I'm going to bulldoze the congregation and say, y'all need to get y'all offering up. I heard a story of one minister saying to their church, y'all, that's why we got it and y'all ain't got nothing. We so high up here, and we always have all of the nice cars and a nice house, and y'all poor and y'all don't have nothing. Now give your tithes and you'll get something. What? What? That was how they spoke to that congregation. And I mean, it was extreme intimidation tactics that they were putting out there. And the people start to feel like they can't say no. I can't say no. So I'm going to give. And it's just not in the church. It may be in your family. It may be at your job. It may be in your community. Wherever you are, you may see and encounter this spirit. And you feel like, I'm intimidated and I can't say no. So I got to say yes. And I got to give in. And I got to give more. And I got to keep giving to this person. Intimidation tactics. The next thing that we start to see is delusion and fantasy. They cannot, we've already talked about their mindset. So because of all the things happening in their mind, they lose reality. And so although you're trying to tell them, that's not how this works, that's not what the Bible say. What scripture are you reading from? That's not how this situation happened. I was there when the situation took place. I know for a fact that what you're telling me right now is not how the situation happened. Although you know clearly what went on, that fantasy and delusion keeps them completely oblivious to what you're talking about. It is almost like they have blinders and blockers on. They don't hear you, they don't see you, and they think you the one who crazy. It ain't me who crazy. This is you. You're delusional. And you're going, I know 1 + 1 = 2, right? We always been taught that, well, it don't really equal 2. They say it in such a way that you start to wonder, am I crazy? Like, did it not equal 2? What does it equal? You confused. That is how that delusion starts to cover and take over their mind. Fantasy. they lose track of reality. So they live in this fantasy world where they're imagining they're grander, they're much more, they're bigger. You know, it's this almost like if somebody dated someone in high school and the person become famous, and that person is sitting back thinking about, oh, if I would have married him, I would have been his wife, that, and I would live in that house, or I would have his kids. That is one level. But when the person actually starts to think, I am married to him, and I live in the house, and I have his children, that is something completely different. That's a whole nother level of fantasy. That is where they live, in that place. So no matter what you say, it doesn't sound like reality in their ears. The way it comes in, it is twisted. And again, it's almost like you're speaking a different language because it's not resonating for them. It's just not resonating. It's not getting in. The other thing we start to see is they feel their voice and their rule supersedes anything and anyone else. Just like we saw with Eli's two sons, who thought that you owe me the offering first before you give it to God. I'm gonna send my priest out there. And they gonna go ahead and get a piece of it before you get it over. Because I have the select choice of meats that I want. I don't eat, the little pieces the leftover after you done burnt it or boiled it. I don't even like boiled meat. So I want my piece up front. Their rule and their words, they think they supersede anybody. It doesn't matter what position you in, what title you in, where your education's from, how many years experience you got in this level. I ain't never did recruiting, Kyle, but I'm gonna come in and talk to you about recruiting because I know what a recruiting department should look like, how it should be run. I ain't never ran a ministry, Apostle Deborah, but I'm gonna come in and tell you how a ministry should be run. Like it doesn't make sense. They think that they want their voice to be heard, and so I will overtalk you. I will minimize your thought. I will start to minimize your value. I will start to diminish the way other people look at you because I want them to look at me with grandeur. I want them to look at you as the insignificant little peon that's beside me. If it's because of me, because I entered this room, that everything is working right. And I ain't touched a dang old thing. I didn't make nothing work. I didn't do nothing. But in my mind, it's because I walked in this room. That is how they think. Their self-image is so high, you can't reach this level. Even if what they're saying doesn't make sense. In their eyes, it does. And I've already said number 10, but I'm going to repeat it one more time. No matter what you do or give, it's never enough. It's never going to be enough. No matter how much clarity you try to provide to that person, it's not going to be enough. No matter how much reasoning you try to do with that person, it's never going to be enough because I'm not going to hear you, because my twisted thoughts are all I hear. And they're all that I receive. And so when you encounter this spirit, this level of a beggar spirit, because this is one that is just totally unique to me. I've never even encountered it before, so I didn't even know what was happening here. Immediately begin to pray for discernment. God, show me what I'm dealing with in this person. Go back and rewatch this as I talk through the various different characteristics, because you need to know them in order to recognize what you're dealing with. The next thing, you're going to need to do some serious praying and fasting, especially if this person is somebody you come into contact with every day. I work with this person. I live with this person. I eat with this person. This person is in my family. This person is my supervisor on my job. You are going to need to do some praying and fasting and some spiritual warfare against this spirit, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So me coming against you and going, I can't stand Susan. It just won't do anything, because that spirit is still going to be inside of Susan and operating through her. And really what it's doing is agitating Kai. Susan's not bothered by this. Kai is bothered by this. And so this spirit is going to be agitating you. And so you need to do some serious praying and fasting. God, show me, give me clear strategy on how to go after this spirit. Show me what I need to know and what I need to do in order to pray against what's happening here. And this type comes out by prayer and fasting. So you're going to have to keep your word going. You're going to have to keep your praise music going. You're going to have to keep being in your word. You're going to have to watch what comes out of your mouth, because you will come into agreement with the spirit. It's antagonizing me. So now I got to say something back to the spirit to let you know you ain't going to talk to me any kind of way. That's not how you fight this. That's not how you fight this. All you gonna do is keep making the issues between you and the person in the spirit. It's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's never going to be resolved. That's why you have to pray, God, give me clear strategy on how to deal with this spirit. Give me strategy. So I'm not dealing with it out of my flesh, because my flesh wants to react. So I need you to teach me how to do this. How do I do this? So you guys, that is what I'm going to teach on tonight. I'm going to leave it here. I said I was going to keep it on 30 minutes. Y'all gave me 9 extra. I really appreciate it. Again, I am Kai Cunningham with the Dream Team Cincinnati. And again, DREEMM stands for Deliverance, Restoration, Education, and Empowerment for Me Ministries. We are located in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm a part of the Dream South team out of Chattanooga. If you would like to join us, you can definitely come to our services. We have a 1-hour service on Sunday from 9 to 10 a.m. every Sunday at the Dream Center. You can also join us virtually for those sessions. You can also go to our website to find out more about the other sessions that we have throughout the week and join those sessions as well. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Have a blessed night. Bye, everybody.